Hey friends, today as we think about restoration, I want to talk to you about memory because memory helps us in so many ways to be restored, to find restoration in things. So I want to tell you about my grandmother, my dad's mom. She passed many years ago now, back when I was still a young pup in college, back in, in the 90s now. It's been quite some time. And one of the things that I loved about my grandmother was not her cooking, mind you, but her cookies. One of her gifts, she made the most amazing sugar cookies. And they were my dad's best friend's mom's recipe, a friend of my grandma too. And one of the things that I cherish from her is this little yellowed card that has the recipe for Ruth's butter cookies. Are they the best sugar cookies ever? I mean, in my opinion, yes. Yes, they are. They're delicious and crunchy. They're filled with a buttery and sugary goodness. They're great for dipping and dunking. But it has a lot less to do with the cookies as it does for that memory, that restoration that comes when I snap a cookie and dip it in my milk. And I think of all those good times and good memories with her. Are there things, items, events, places, smells, textures, whatever it happens to be, that sparks that memory that brings a amount of joy to your life, that can help find restoration when you're feeling out of sorts, finding restoration leading you into new life? I have other things that I can think of. The smell of oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, I immediately think of my parents. One of the things my mom would make and my dad would steal mercilessly sometimes from the cookie jar and the cookie dough. I think of the smell of diesel, and it brings back beautiful memories of my time in India. It's not really a pretty smell, but nonetheless. There are those things that spark memory and cause us to think of other things that give us joy. So this table that I'm actually sitting at is where we celebrate communion. And I not only think of the dear woman whose memory that we do with Miss Ivy, but I think of all the different people who have come to celebrate communion at this table. Most are still walking amongst us, but many have gone. And I think about the act of communion itself, where we break bread and pour out a cup. Not because I wear a robe, magically this thing turns into something else, but we are called to remember. We are called when we break the bread and share the cup to remember Christ, to remember what Jesus did, how he treated those around him, and who he calls us all to be. And that memory can encourage and inspire, if nothing else, if only to remind us that we belong, that this table is open for all. And in that memory, we are called to that restoration, because to partake in that meal with Christ is to join him, yes, in the death, but also in the resurrection. And that memory is what brings us forward and encourages us to find restoration and new life. My hope for you today is you will think of something that gives you a great memory of a time or a place, one of those little reminders, a little kernel in there. And think of when we break bread together, whether it be around a communion table or literally just sharing a meal with one another, the reminder of the belonging and family and the encouragement to live, to be the best you, to be restored into the fullness of life. May you find a good sugar cookie or whatever it happens to be, and remember those good things. We'll see you soon.
And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever